So today I'm going to teach you how to build a computer. First, you're going to need some tools, a CPU fan, some RAM, a graphics card, and of course your motherboard. You're going to need a power supply, and you're also going to need a storage device. And of course your case. You're going to need a monitor, a keyboard, and your mouse. And of course your cords, your screws. You're going to want to start by putting your CPU onto the motherboard. Next, you're going to want to put your RAM on. Next up is the graphics card. Then you're going to want to put your thermal paste on your CPU to make sure it does not overheat. Then you put your CPU fan on top of your CPU. Once that's done, you plug the power source for the CPU fan into the motherboard. Next, we want to unscrew our case so we can start putting our components inside. First, you're going to want to put in your memory unit, which is the terabyte hard drive I showed before. Next, you're going to want to take the power cable from the power supply into the terabyte hard drive to make sure it has power. Then you're going to take the SATA cable, which comes with your motherboard. Next, you're going to want to take your small flathead screwdriver, depending on the size of your screws, and you want to screw in your power supply to the back of the case. Make sure the fan on the power supply is facing outward from the case. Next, you're going to want to make sure you plug in all the cables that correspond with your case. Then you want to take the extra cords that plug into your motherboard and push them through the open slots on the case to make sure they can reach the motherboard. Next, we're going to want to unscrew the other side. With this particular case, it's the same as the other side, just take the 4 screws off and remove the glass paneling. After both panels are removed, you're going to want to put your motherboard with all the components on it inside the case. Next, we're going to want to make sure we screw our motherboard into the case so nothing falls out. You can usually find these lined up, regardless what size case you have. After this, you're going to want to start plugging the cables into your motherboard, corresponding with the sizes that they are. The power supply is usually 4-prong, which goes in usually at the top. The USB usually has a corresponding one on the motherboard itself. This one is labeled with USB. There are 2 of them. You want to plug it into the first one to make sure it has priority. Then here's the audio one, which makes it so your sound will come through the speaker cables, the audio jacks, and that is right here on the end. Then we want to plug our PCIe into our graphics card. Some take 6, some take 8. This one takes 8. Then you're going to want to plug your cables in. Make sure it's corresponding with the monitor. Then you turn your system on. Make sure everything boots up correctly. It is. And then you're all set. That is how you build a computer.